When I was a teenager and living in Georgia, I wanted to be a mountaineer and climb on glaciers, but had to climb trees instead. Maybe that's because there are way more trees than glaciers in the South. In college, three buddies and I bought a couple of steel chainsaws and started cleaning up fallen trees and branches after the infamous ice storm in December 2005. It was during finals week at Bob Jones. The first tree I ever climbed for tree work was at Dr. McCauley's house in Taylor's. After that, we called ourselves Tip Top Tree Service. Andrew Ward had started Bunyan Brothers Tree Service as a way to pay his way through college while a student. We worked together a lot since I liked to climb and he had a big dump truck. He introduced me to Harold and to renting cranes for tree work. I did tree climbing on the side during the last 2 years of college, then worked for my uncle at Robertson's Tree Service, and then for Hudson Blau at American Tree and Land. I started Integrity Tree Co. in 2008, shortly before our wedding, and went out on my own in order to have time during the week to take seminary classes toward my master's degree in theology. After some experience in the field, my goal was to get about $400 per day for my helper and me, including the dump fee at Greenworks, which was $25 at the time. We worked really hard out of my Isuzu Trooper, which had four-wheel drive. I rigged a sealed saw box so that we wouldn't asphyxiate between jobs from the gas fumes. I bought a small 5x10 utility trailer from Thomas Rogers and cut up the brush and unloaded the debris by hand at Greenworks. It was pretty sad, but I didn't know better and hard work was charming then. In 2010, I traded my Trooper for an old Ford F-250 and thus became the proud owner of my first pickup truck. The first new saw I bought for myself was a Stihl 310 with a 20-inch bar. It's surprising what you can do with a 20-inch saw. We cut everything with that saw for years. Harold probably wishes that we had gotten a bigger saw sooner for those crane removals. In 2011, I bought Big Blue, or Not So Big Blue, a 6x10 dump trailer from Hudson for $2,000. Even then, that was a good deal. A magical thing happened with Big Blue. Whatever went into the trailer came out with the push of a button. Literally. Of course, we were still cutting up brush in the trailer and throwing wood on top by hand, but it was amazing to never touch it again once it was loaded. With no real heavy equipment to speak of and loading every piece of trunk wood by hand, ropes and pulleys were used every day. We climbed everything then because ropes were way cheaper than bucket trucks. In fact, they still are. Rope rigging every piece to the ground was the name of the game, and it took a lot of skill and tying the correct knots to avoid damage to fences and homes. The Lord was obviously taking care of us then by protecting us, as well as the many homes we worked around. There were many guys who worked for me over the years. One year I had over 40 different guys work for me. A lot of BJU students, and many of them only worked once or twice. This meant that I was constantly pointing and telling the guys what to do, mostly yelling, unfortunately. At the beginning of 2013, I became very sick, and thus began my intermittent state of illness for the next few years up to the present. This meant that I needed a lot of help for manual labor. I went from telling the ground guys what to do from the top of the tree to telling the new climber what to do from a lawn chair. The Lord continued to provide for us, even though we were then charging hardly enough to pay for supplies and repairs. Buying a new chainsaw was a major purchase. I wasn't concerned with building a business because my plan was to go into church ministry after completing my seminary degree, so making money and growing were not my priority. I struggled with my health until it really went downhill after some stressful events in 2016. After being diagnosed with Lyme disease, we decided to go to a clinic in Phoenix, Arizona for 2 months in 2017. We went in faith because we were barely making ends meet to begin with, and we knew that the treatment protocol would cost tens of thousands of dollars, aside from living expenses and incidentals. I told the Lord that I knew He could pay for the treatment, but that if He didn't provide for us to be debt-free, that I would trust that He would supply our needs in such a way as to pay off the debt afterwards. We returned home with enough credit card debt to buy a small house. The Lord blessed us as I focused for the first time on turning a side hustle into a growing business so that we could make the many high credit card payments each month. At one point, we were paying $1,000 per month on interest alone. All along the way, we have seen God take care of us by providing trucks, equipment, and the best guys out there to support our mission. But we never would have guessed that 2024 would prove to be a year crowned with special blessings. Up until this time, we parked our trucks on church property where we live and work on the weekends. We did our best to keep the trucks out of the way and out of sight. We knew that we needed to find a place to park them, but we also did not want our business to interfere with our close ties to working at church. Purchasing land farther away would mean more time away from home and the church property. I had looked at property nearby, but because of the proximity to downtown Greenville, an acre was going for about $1 million. Needless to say, that was out of the budget. To make a long and exciting story short, the Lord brought together an amazing set of circumstances to provide this property and the down payment amount on the exact same day in April. The right people and circumstances fell into place like a dream. Amber especially had been praying for nearly 2 years that God would give us property within 1 mile of our home, and now we had property within a 1/4 mile. We are thankful for Chris, who sold us the property, and her son-in-law Randy for taking special interest in us and our little company. This space has been a perfect fit for us. We worked at renovating the office building and reclaiming the parking lot in the back for several months. We wondered how we would get it all done. We hauled away 3 dumpsters of stuff and many loads of debris. At one point, I despaired of ever having the resources necessary to do with the property what we had a vision for. It seemed hopeless. But God had other plans. Little did we know that we had been uniquely prepared to deal with Hurricane Helene when it hit Greenville on September 27th, 2024. Our crew worked tirelessly to remove trees from homes for 2 weeks straight after working a normal week. We would continue taking trees off of houses and other structures until December. This major windfall allowed us to go on a shopping spree and purchase a newer, larger chipper, another mini skid steer, a utility truck, and our dream come true, a grapple saw crane truck. Our work now is so much faster and safer because of these gifts, and none of these things would have any value if it weren't for the stellar team of hardworking men that make Integrity Tree Co. what it is today. Every one of our guys is an expert in filling a specific role on the crew. After the hurricane, we were able to finish many of the improvements in the office building that we had desired to complete. What you see here today feels like a miracle to us, and we are thankful. After hearing this, it might be easy to assume that all this has come about because it's just the normal path for things to follow in a business. But I don't feel that way. I never intended to build a business capable of supporting men with families, as well as offering a few benefits. Integrity Tree Co. seeks to put the Lord first, and it's my conviction that He has blessed us because of that. Deuteronomy 8:18 says that it is God who gives the power to get wealth. All riches and wealth and success come from Him, and He gives us the strength we need each day. It's not statistics or good luck. I don't take that for granted. I haven't had a lot of strength for the last 10 years, but the Lord has blessed us in spite of all the many challenges and trials He has given to us. We praise God for His goodness and protection for all these years, and for providing a great crew and partners along the way.